Awesome. Let's see here. All right, welcome to the stream. My name's Miriam, and I'm very excited to be chatting with my guest today, Aaron Pratt, known on social media as AyePe. Uh, we're live today. Aaron's actually been a friend of mine from forever ago, but he's also the founder of HellaBaked. And so I said, hey, would you come on, Aaron, to my live stream and talk about what you do? And he said, yes. So, Aaron, appreciate you taking the time. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I really want you to join the conversation. Feel free to chime in with your comments, your questions anytime. And raise your hand to join us on stage at the end. And if you want to come up, you can ask questions of Aaron as well. So how are you, Aaron? Or do you prefer AyePe?
Either one's fine. Either one is fine.
And what do your students call you? Because I know a lot of your students are probably watching on YouTube live right now.
I know. So my students on HellaBaked side, they call me AP. But I also teach middle school, so my other students call me Mr. Pratt.
Mr. Pratt. Love it. So why don't we give just a brief intro to HellaBaked. It's family owned and operated. It's a confectionery company. You guys are providing the premium delectable sweets, amazing cakes. You guys are hot on TikTok. You have like very unique flavors. But how else would you give like a brief description of like what you're up to besides baking, and just how you came up with this brand?
Yes. About me, just I started off at East Bay. So my major was in recreation and hospitality at California State University East Bay. And after graduating, I just like couldn't find a job in my field, and I wanted to do event planning. So I kind of just accidentally fell into teaching and fell in love with that. And so I'm a middle school teacher in Oakland, California. I'm actually still here at work, so if a bell rings, just ignore that. And so yeah, I've been teaching. It'll be 10 years this year in May. And then I also just kind of fell into baking as well. So a lot of things that I'm doing right now, I kind of just fell into it. It was not intentional. I had a really close friend that was a baker. Did it professionally. She baked at like the W Hotel, the DoubleTree Hotel. Um, Her aunt had a company, and she kind of baked with her, and so I would kind of just help her on, her big orders. He did it on the side, and kind of just was like, "Oh, I like this," and so I would do just small things for my family during the holidays or for birthdays, things like that, and my friend moved away. Her job offered her a higher position in a different state. And so she had clients here still that wanted her sweets. And she's like, I'm no longer living there, but my best friend can do them. And I'm like, no. uh, this is all you. I'm just, I'm the help.
You're being humble.
Right. And so finally, after I want to say maybe like a year of like her clients reaching out to me, I finally was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. And the lady, she wanted some cupcakes, really simple. And so I gave it a shot, and I didn't charge her much at all. And I want to say like 2 days after her event, the lady like texted me, and she was like, those cupcakes were delicious, and you did not charge me enough. And she like sent me like $200 more.
Wow.
I was just like, huh, maybe I can do this. And so I started just baking cupcakes for people and playing with flavors. And then I thought, like, what if I could bring like my background of just like event planning into it? And so I started doing events with baking. So, like this past weekend, I had my second annual Cupcakes and Cocktails event. um, which I started right before COVID, the year before COVID, the first one. And COVID happened, and I just like was like, forget it, we can't do it. But this year, people were like asking for it, so I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, for asking for it, they want to do it, and we had so much fun, so much fun that they convinced me to do it twice a year. And so yeah, I'll be doing that event twice a year now. But that's how
Awesome.
I'm baking.
I love this. It's such a good story, and I'm glad that everything worked out with your friend departing and you finding this passion, because it's been cool to see you kind of go from making the uh, little treats and things to the cakes that you do now are really cool. How did you come up with the name HellaBaked?
Um, I'm from Oakland, California, and I really just love where I'm from. And not a lot of places use the word hella.
Right.
A lot of people know what it means. Um, and so the word hella is just very Bay Area ish. And so I just wanted to I wanted to make sure, like in my company, that I incorporated a lot of things that is either Oakland or Bay Area. And so I was just like, I played around with a few different names. Hella Baked was one, and that one just kind of like stuck. Um, what I ran into, or I also run into a lot now, is the baked part because people associate that with, marijuana and things like that.
Edibles
Um,
and things.
yes, edibles. So if I if I make those, and I do, but that's not what
What you're known for.
what. Yes,
Got it. Yeah, that's it's a cool name. It's like, if people are not from the Bay Area, they wouldn't know Hella, but
right.
and
So
good.
hell, a
it's
lot, a
it's
lot of.
Yeah, and it's good to know that you do edibles, because then it does make it's a double type name, can be used like multiple ways, like Hella
Yes,
Baked.
yes.
So very cool, very unique. And your TikToks, I love them. What inspires your content? Like sometimes you'll do one of the trends and I'm like, gosh, that's so good. Like how you flip it and make it your own.
So I try and when I'm doing content, especially on TikTok, the things that like hit are what's trending. And so I've noticed that just with social media, in general, you need to like be on the trend. You got to be on that train. So I take time and like look at how can I flip this trend to go along with my niche. Um, I think it also helps my social media um, person that handles a lot of my social media. He tells me it helps that you're very personable and funny. And so I kind of just like try and add my own personality into those trends, um, and just like things that are super like real life with those trends. I think one of my most viral videos was the one with there was one with Medea, and then she was saying that's the kind of thing you watch from a distance. And so what I did was I was on my porch one day and I just set my camera up and I was just like, what are people doing that, in my niche that I kind of just want to stay away from?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it had just happened maybe a week before that. And I was like, a lot of people tag me on Facebook and they're like, I'm looking for a baker who can do a last minute cake.
Yeah.
And I get a lot of people like, HellaBaked can do it. HellaBaked can do it. I'm like, that's what I want to watch from a distance because I need like at least 3 to 4 weeks. Like right currently booking cakes through December. So
Yeah.
I'm like, last minute cake.
You're like, I can't do that actually. No.
So yeah, just things like that. I also when I'm just in bed, sometimes just scrolling through social media, I'll see something. I'm like, oh, let me save this sound or let me save this video, so that when I do need some help um, making content, I'm like, let me go look at my saved videos so that I can get, shoot this and have that on reserve.
Yeah. I just dropped all of Aaron's AyePe HellaBaked social links into the chat so you can check those out. You're creating content on multiple different platforms as well as holding down a full-time job and doing HellaBaked, your own entrepreneurial endeavor. What do you think is the future of content creation? Like, how do you find the time to create content on multiple platforms? Are you creating and reposting? Like, what's your strategy with that?
A lot of times I am creating and reposting. I found that, so here's the thing, I'm not as active on TikTok as I am on Instagram. A lot of my customers come from Instagram. So I am on Instagram a lot more than I am on TikTok, but my videos go more viral on TikTok than they do on Instagram. It's so weird. I don't really understand it.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. But I think that just when creating content, I just try and I kind of just like batch it. I do it in batches. So I might have a time of the day. I do most of my baking on Sundays. So if there may be on a Sunday where I only have like 3 or 4 orders, and I'm baking on my cake. So while those cakes are in the oven, there's some downtime. I shoot 3 or 4 videos in that one time, and then later on that night I'll edit them, and those are all my posts for the week. I've done with on Instagram is I've linked my Facebook, and so whatever I post on Instagram automatically goes onto Facebook. What I also have found is if I make a video and I post it on TikTok and forget to save it before I post it, that TikTok watermark is on that video.
Right.
So when the Instagram algorithm when it sees that, it doesn't do numbers at all because they use their editing software and things like that. And so I try and record on Instagram. It lets you save it without the audio, and then it saves to my camera roll, and then I can go back and post it on TikTok without the Instagram watermark.
Okay, good tips. Great. Yeah. I appreciate those. And any questions, feel free to drop in. Here's Ashley chiming in with something very good question. Is it complicated to use hashtags because of cannabis?
It is very complicated. So I use hashtags sometimes. I try and stay away from hashtags just because I really don't know how to use them.
That's honest.
And then I see some people where they have like this paragraph, this whole essay of hashtags, and I'm like, I don't know if I have the time to sit there and hashtag all those hashtags every time. Like Miriam said, I am a full-time teacher. I'm also in grad school. I'm running a business. I still have to have, my social life. So there's not much time that I have.
Yeah.
And the downtime that I do have is like very sacred. And so I'm like, that downtime is not going to be used using hashtags. And I also hear just different things about hashtags. I hear that they work. I hear that they don't work. I'll use hashtags every now and then for specific things, especially on places like TikTok or Instagram where people are searching for hashtags. So every now and then I'll like hashtag maybe like Oakland Baker or custom cake or things like that. That way, when someone goes and searches that, I can pop up.
Mm-hmm. Very good question. Thanks so much for that, Ashley. We are chatting with Aaron. For those of you guys that are just joining, Aaron is the founder of HellaBaked. Passionate baker and business owner, got his start baking for family and friends, and has since turned his hobby into a thriving business. Any questions you have for him, make sure you drop them in the chat. So I know you work with youth, so I'm going to ask, what words or lessons would you leave to the younger generation that are hoping to be great or just, trying to discover their passion?
Yes. This is a really good question because my kids ask me all the time, like, I tell them I make more baking in a year than I do as a teacher. So I always tell them, like, you just need to find what it is what do you want to do? What are you good at? It can't just be about the money. I love teaching. That's why I do it. But I also love baking. That's why I do that on the side. And so I always tell them, you need to find that drive and what drives you. What is it that makes you want to get up and do that every day? And I also tell them, like, I don't push college on my friends. Like, school is not for everyone. Yes, I need you to get at least in high school diploma, because you need that to just survive. That is the basics. But college isn't for everyone. And so I tell them all the time, if college is not for you, if school is not for you, at least get a trade so that you're able to. Sorry, they're making an announcement. If you don't want to go to college, you do have something like that trade that you can fall back on if things don't go right, because entrepreneurship is also not for everyone.
No.
Hard.
Yeah.
And I get that ask me all the time, like, if you're making more baking and teaching, then why don't you just quit? And I'm just like, it's kind of hard to leave guaranteed money for some money that, I'll have to, like, maybe get. Although I know my customers will always come back. I'll always have orders. But I have a paycheck every month that I know that I can live off of, as opposed to this, the entrepreneurship where anything can literally happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could, God forbid, my apartment could catch on fire, and who knows when I'll be able to complete orders. So just thinking about things like that.
Well, I'm glad you offered that up, because I was thinking about asking you that, but then I thought about, that might be hard when some of your students probably watching, and you may not want to say, like, you'll leave for one day to do business baking full time, but you just answered it anyways, which is great. And I agree, it's really a challenge to make that jump. And I think back to when I made that decision, and it was scary, and it really pushed me in a way that now that I'm looking back on it, because now I've, like, come around where, like, things feel a little bit calmer. But, like, I think that honestly the last 5 years I was in a, like, fight or flight mode of operation, where I was just like, survival. Like, you have no paycheck coming, you have to work your freaking butt off to make sure that you have that, and it's not easy. I do not recommend. It's hard to do that, like, mentally. And now I'm just, like, coming down from that and, like, figuring out, like, oh my God, I was in this haze for the last 5 years of my life. Like, So I think you're doing the good choice. Just keep your safety.
My safety net, right? I have, like, my cake mentor, like, she had a 9 to 5, and she is just huge cake artist, Portia Kimball. And she still had a 9 to 5 job, although she'll tell you it was very toxic and she didn't like it. She didn't quit her 9 to 5 until just recently. I think it's only been a year. But within that year, her business has also grown tremendously.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, you gotta find that balance.
Right, definitely. Yeah, it pushes you to that next level, and you get rid of that 9 to 5. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
yeah. But mentally, it's a lot. So yeah, thinking about the last, I guess, what now 5 years at this point, right? That you've been on this entrepreneurship journey. What have been some of the challenges that you've overcome?
Whew, so many. I think the biggest challenge has been just not knowing how to properly run a business. No one in my family owned a business. None of my friends owned a business. And so um, it was all just like trial and error. um, I think just overcoming those struggles and when having my ups and my many, many downs have just been like the super highlights. But I want to say, yeah, that was the biggest struggle was just like not knowing how to run a business. And not saying that I'm doing everything correct now, but looking at from where I started to now, I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
um, I think yeah, that's the biggest one and the most the one that I'm most proud of is because that's huge. From not knowing, you know, from having a business that just started off like as a hobby and to now last year I've had um I've had the business for about 5 years, but I officially made it an LLC. It's been 2 years now. So I've had my LLC for 2 years and
Yeah.
$10,000 is not a lot, but last year was my first $10,000 year. And so that was very huge for me.
Congratulations. And I'd like that you shared that because people get bogged down with even just starting. They're like, oh, what do I do? My LLC, my this and that. Just go ahead, just start, just do it. And like Aaron said, you'll learn things along the way. You'll be forced to kind of figure things out. What about some, when it comes to the successes? What are those? What do those look like over the last few years? I mean, you highlight the successful revenue for this past year. Anything else come to mind?
Yes, I think the biggest one that I've had, well, not the biggest, but one of the biggest successes that I've had. So I started out only as cupcakes. I was like, I am never doing cakes. I kind of ventured out into doing like sweets. So I would do like chocolate covered strawberries or Rice Krispie treats, things like that. But I was just like, cakes is a no for me. Absolutely not. I tried it once for my cousin's birthday. On the way to the birthday, the entire cake just fell. And I was like, nope, that's it. I'm done. Never again. But like a lot of other entrepreneurs, the pandemic happened and I was home a lot. Couldn't do anything. And I was just like, why not just give it a try? And I was going to Dallas for one of my friends, my best friend, for her birthday. We were surprising her. And this is how I found my mentor as well. I took a one-on-one class with her, how to do cakes. And I posted that cake and immediately like things just took off. And I was like, all right, you have to perfect this cake thing because clearly this is what people want.
Yeah. Was that cake the one with the afro that you did by chance?
That first cake was um it wasn't like anything like elaborate. It was literally
Okay.
just a two-tier cake. But I think people had just been waiting for me to like offer it.
Yeah.
Because I had gotten many, many, many inquiries about cakes and I always turned them down. And then another thing, I was just like, I'm looking at what people are charging for cakes, and I'm like, that's like triple what I can charge for a cupcake order, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
so
Well, how much do people charge for cakes?
it depends on your skill level. When I first started out doing cakes, I was only charging $6.30. And people were like, especially, or she was like, "You are insane. Like your work is worth way more than that." And so I bumped it up. I am currently charging $8 a serving, um, but I'm going up to $10 a serving in the new year.
Yeah, that sounds
Uh,
really affordable.
yeah, especially here in California.
Yeah, that sounds
It's
very affordable.
actually I know people in like Alabama that's charging like $12 and $14 a serving.
Mm-hmm.
I personally want to just get more knowledge and gain more skills and perfect a few more things before I get on that level. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. Um, I get that. I get that.
I do. My cakes start off. I do a two to four layer 6-inch cake that starts at 150, and that'll feed depending on how you get it about 20 people. Um, but that's just like a super basic cake. You know, it's like buttercream, almost no decoration. Um, I mean, it's decorated, but you know, very simple things.
Yeah. Very good. Very good. I was just kind of strolling through your website here because I tell us a little bit. So you, one of the things is like your unique flavors that people really love. What are some of those flavors that people can get from you that they can't get anywhere else?
One is my Hennessy. I use Hennessy a lot, and a lot of people here in the Bay Area drink Hennessy.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
found ways to incorporate Hennessy in things that I just wouldn't think go together. I have an Oreo cupcake that is amazing. I personally, I'm not a big chocolate fan, but I will eat that cupcake.
The,
um,
that Hennessy peach cobbler on your homepage looks delicious.
the peach cobbler is always a hit. I sell out of the Hennessy peach cobbler within, if I post it within an hour, I'm sold out.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that sounds really good. When I'm on a freedom from alcohol right now, but when I am done with that, I'm definitely gonna want to get some of that. That sounds so good.
A big hit of mine, and I also a lot of people like the crust, so I put a crust on the bottom and the top.
Mm.
They
What are
love.
some of your, your favorite snacks um, that you just eat outside of like cakes and stuff?
Believe it or not, I'm not a big sweet eater. I don't eat a lot of sweets. If I am eating something that is sweet, like for a snack, it's probably a Reese cup. I love Reese cups. But as far as just like snacks, I love like nuts, like different type of nuts. So like cashews, and pistachios are my two favorite nuts. And I just recently got hooked on prosciutto around string cheese and eating that.
Prosciutto and
And
cream cheese.
I've been
Okay, okay.
eating that quite often, as a snack, especially here at work. It's just so easy.
Mm-hmm.
But as far as like some snacks, I because I'm so busy, I don't eat. I don't snack a lot. I will eat maybe once a day. That's not good, but
Yeah. Well,
sometimes
you're also a teacher. I know how that is to work with the kids. And so Ashley's chiming in, definitely in Baltimore, charging 15 to 25. I assume that's per serving. So we see that this is it's still very affordable. We're on Entra right now. It's a partially Web3 platform. So I definitely want to ask you about Web3. Are you interested in Web3? Would you ever accept cryptocurrency for your business? What do you think about it?
I need to do more research on it. I am when it comes to like cryptocurrency and things like that. I am very not knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I tried to like do a little bit of research. My brother is really into it. And he would say me like, you need to go buy this right now. This thing was like Dogecoin or something. And I was like, okay, can I just send you the money and you get it? Um, so like I don't have enough knowledge.
Yeah.
Say yay or nay.
Yeah. No worries.
But I see good things about it.
Yeah. So that's great. And what are some of your other projects that you're doing? Because I know I'm wearing this sweater. I threw it on right before we got on. I was like, oh my gosh, put on the sweater. I know this is your line with this price has gone up. Love the whole mindset there with that. So, you're dabbling in fashion and a little bit of merch and stuff. What other things are out here? You're doing your masters. What other projects do you have going on? What's next?
A group of friends of mine, we are sorry. Um, we're starting up. We have a podcast. We kind of took a break from it for a little bit because life has been lifing. And so, but we are slowly getting that back together. We are on Instagram, boy. We have the Broke Boy podcast.
What's it called?
The Broke Boy podcast.
Okay.
And it's just a name we've been calling each other from like college days when we didn't have money. We were like all in like one person would get a dorm room and then the other one would just like sleep in there. Because we just couldn't afford things. So we were like, being broke. And now that we're older and we're like, I don't want to say well, but we're doing okay for ourselves. We're kind of just like, let's keep it and keep it as just like a mindset, you know, about where we were and where we are now and started. And so I really enjoy doing that. As I've always been into just like clothes and shoes. And so I'm kind of going back into that as well. With a friend, she's helping me with just like doing some get ready with me videos, so I can start posting those. And that's about it. Just baking, school.
And what about putting together like a book of recipes or anything like that? Ever thought about doing that?
I have that in the works. I do. My plan was to release an ebook last winter, but some things fell through. But my social media coach and I have been talking about that. We actually had a meeting yesterday about that, so that is definitely in the works, and we are planning for that. Very good.
Love that. We should definitely talk more about that. I know we had Maya up here earlier. I'd love to bring you back up if you want to ask a question to Aaron or anyone else who wants to join the stage or ask a question, now is the time. So we're getting kind of close to the end here with Aaron AyePe. If you have questions for Mr. Pratt, you can also comment them in if you're watching on YouTube. Anything else that we should know besides what you've already told us, what you've already shared? We're waiting to see if anyone wants to come up and join.
Sure. I have some classes that I offer on my website that you guys can feel free to go ahead and book. I also am doing a lot more traveling with baking. This year, I will be in Las Vegas doing my cupcakes and cocktails event. I will be in Alabama doing my cupcakes and cocktails event. I have a tie-dye event coming up in May in St. Louis. And that's going to be with a family member of mine who is like really big on fashion. And she's had clothes and things like that. And we are collabing and doing a tie-dye shirt event in St. Louis. But there you can see there I have my date night event, or my date night class. I have cupcakes cocktail private edition where you're having a birthday and you have like 6 or more friends that you want to enjoy and decorate some cupcakes with. You can. I try to explain cupcakes and cocktails like a sip and paint, but more interactive and with.
Yummy! It sounds so good. I'm getting hungry just thinking about these events and classes. To be honest, I'm gonna have to go a little snack after this. But I really appreciate you taking time to chat with me and tell me about what you're working on. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Make sure that if you have questions, what's the best way to get in touch with Aaron? Follow him on social. What's the best one?
Yes, follow me on Instagram. I answer on Instagram the fastest just because I said my ideal customer on Instagram. That's everyone has Instagram. But I do respond on Facebook. I do respond on TikTok as well. I not started my YouTube channel yet, but that is up and coming as well. If you have any baking questions or any questions about running a business and being an entrepreneur, I don't have all the answers. And help in any way I can. I love to, and sorry, just side note, that's another way for you content if you're having trouble creating content. If someone asks you a question under one of your posts, especially on TikTok, because they have that feature where you can just respond by video. That right there. So I love that, and I love interacting with you guys.
Yes, you could do a lot of videos answering questions like that for people. I see they ask you, how do you do this? How do you make your frosting? How do you do that? Blah, blah. And then you show the video and it's entertaining.
So go on TikTok and look at that.
Yes, definitely. Check out his oh, look, Clark, I'm getting some questions are coming in. Carl wants to know, have you ever baked for big events? Do you do any big event baking?
I do. My biggest event, so when the Golden State Warriors, when they were at the Coliseum in Oakland before they had the stadium in San Francisco, I had a contract with them, and every year that they made it to the playoffs, I provided sweets and cupcakes for them. So it was backstage, not backstage, but like just be behind the scenes and like a lot of like be there. ESPN, that was really cool. I think that's the biggest event I've done. I've done some pretty big events, but one on the most.
That's massive. Do you rely on social media for marketing, or do you have a strategy or PR campaign you like to use?
I am getting into, so yes, I use social media for marketing. I do run ads on Instagram and Facebook. That has helped with generating some income. But email marketing is like I've just learned this, is one of the most influential forms of marketing. So
Hmm.
I have started to, um, if you go to my website, you'll notice I have a subscriber thing pop up when you
Right.
first. That's how I am creating and building upon my email contact list. And I send out specials. Um, send out everything. And I've gotten, so when I started doing email marketing, I've gotten so many new customers, even if they were just going to the website to look. And so email marketing, I would say do your research and get on email. It's very, very powerful.
Okay, great. And we have some other questions around that. Which platform do you use for your emails?
So I use my Wix has is currently has a like a subscriber thing. So most of my email marketing goes through Wix. And I think it just depends what um like package you have with them. But I also do email marketing through Square. And so my all my financial things are through Square. And so I send out an invoice. What happens is if you're a customer, you go to my website, you'll probably fill out my subscribe thing, and then you go to my inquiry form, and it asks email and all the information about your event. And then I send you an invoice through Square, and you can pay directly on your phone, and that also keeps your so I send uh, emails through Square as well as through Wix. And so that some people get the email twice. They may get the same email. But I do have those people who are not who haven't been customers yet, who are only subscribed to my website. And so that's why I use both.
Makes sense. And this is a very specific question. Have you ever been approached to do a live baking demo at a reggae festival?
I have not. That would be very interesting. That would be cool, actually.
That sounds fun. Yeah. So definitely, if you know how to get Aaron hooked up for that, hit him up in the
Yeah,
DMs.
that'd be. I love.
And yeah, thank you. That brings us just over our top of the hour. So I really appreciate you coming on, and thanks everyone for joining the stream. We appreciate you too. We'll be back next week with another amazing founder and entrepreneur, tell their story, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Thanks, Aaron.